Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are taking a deeper dive into our current thoughts about Karla and Juan.
Hopefully you are enjoying the other deep dives. Check out our other deep dives that we've done these past couple days. We done one on Michelle. We done one on Camille and Thomas. We done one on Alan and Madison. And now Juan and Karla gets their opportunity to get talked about.
Okay.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. Just on a surface level, Blair. Compared to what you thought in the beginning of the season to what you think now about them, what is your thoughts on Juan and Karla?
It's just not going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work. I think that Karla has really done everything that she could possibly think to do to try to gather or kind of try to get some type of connection with Juan.
Okay.
But I think that Juan is halting the connection from being made, and I can't quite figure out why, other than the fact that he's just not into her, or it doesn't really respect her work ethic, and maybe he might think that she's a little bit crazy because of her thoughts on the universe and money being energy, and maybe he wants someone who's a little bit more stable, is the only thing. But he's not being honest and communicating what his hangups are. He is pretty much trying and going along with all the recommendations with the experts, so he's not giving much pushback, but I don't see his effort to actually make a real connection.
I agree with everything you said. It's funny because I flip-flop between who fault is it when it comes to Juan and Karla. I would be lying if I was to say that I did not think that it would be all of Karla's fault. Right, I remember early in the season, especially when they showed us the preview of the season, there was a preview of Karla saying, "I quit my job." You get what I'm saying? Not knowing the backstory on it, and granted, I do not agree with her quitting her job and things of that nature. But
if she even quit it,
you know what I mean? But I thought that Karla was more of a gold digger, right? I thought she was more of someone who, just wanted a soft life is what they call it, right? To where she could just not worried about it. She should get her carrot juice every day, even though it may cost this amount. And Juan is like, you should make it at home. And she's like, money is energy. Who cares about that? So it came off to me as if Karla was kind of like immature in many factors. And then we get to, of course, the part of the honeymoon where Juan forgets that he's on the honeymoon with his wife, and he starts hanging out with David, or he playing a day for him and David to get David out of the slumps. I kind of saw a turn of Juan to where he became kind of uninterested in Karla, right? But not in a way to where it's possible for her to gain it back. Not even in the way that Juan is describing it, because Juan is lying to us saying that, hey, in other relationships, I took it fast and now I'm taking it slow. This is a type of speed that has no type of like end goal, like when it comes to their marriage. This is the type of speed to where it makes us, and I see in the comments, and guess what? I have to address it. Are you interested in Karla at all? And when I say Karla, I'm talking about Karla's, right? And I don't think I can agree with y'all on that, because he just comes off as goofy. Right, he comes off as very unserious. One thing that he said in the scene that I know you have it pulled up, Blair, that really stuck out to me is that he said when Dr. P was coming over, he said he's anxious because he don't like hard questions, right? And I'm just like, for someone who was basically telling Karla on the honeymoon, hey, this is the most fun we gonna have. I'm paraphrasing, because at home I'm rigid. At home I'm very I'm like, you're a businessman, right? To where it's like, you should not be like afraid of hard questions, especially if the hard questions is going to benefit you at the end of this whole process. So it kind of makes me question, why did Juan sign up for this process in totality? Because at the end of the day, it's a random drawing, and whatever woman you wanted, even if it's business savvy, even if it's someone who is not so into energy or things of that nature like Karla, it kind of gives off that Juan is very unserious about everything in this process, in my opinion. What is your thoughts on this? when the lady came into the apartment in her lingerie, even though Juan was in shorts.
Well, can I respond to something
you
said?
Go ahead.
So I think that when Juan talks about not liking hard questions, just from what we gather on the show, because we don't know these people,
Help me.
it seems like I don't think it's more so of the fact that he's a businessman, so he should be used to dealing with hard questions. I don't know if he's used to dealing with questions when it comes to his emotions, and I think that's probably difficult for him.
Okay.
Or emotions or questions actually calling him to carpet about his behavior and reasoning behind it. I don't know if it's because Juan doesn't know why he shows up the way he does in certain ways, or maybe he thinks that he's doing his best by being positive and being a jovial person. And like I said, when they read their letters to their younger selves, and how he says that he chooses happiness because, I mean, there's so much in life to crumble under. And so I'm totally with Juan for doing that. But that's why I kind of attribute Juan with sometimes having this toxic positivity, because where is the reality in the situation?
Yeah.
The reality of it is you and your wife are not on the same accord.
No.
So you guys, meet up with Dr. Pia. She gives you guys the recommendation of the tantric yoga session when you guys actually have a moment to kind of talk about what you're going to be doing, and you kind of play around with different exercises. You do the really playful ones. You don't actually try to sit down. A lot of tantric yoga is sitting down, looking at each other, touching each other, but he's doing like the really like funny poses to where you're kind of like separated from each other in a way. So I guess for me, like, Juan is putting up this barrier, and he's not allowing the experts, his wife, or even Keisha in the after party. The after party is taped months later, and Keisha's asking him questions of, where does a wife fit into your lifestyle if you're such a busy man?
Yeah.
And he isn't able to provide an answer, because I honestly believe that he thought that a wife would just get with the program. And I don't know if he realized how much work it would take for him to be open and vulnerable to make this relationship work, especially with a stranger, because Karla doesn't know you well enough to say, I know what Juan means. I know his character. I know his heart. And that, if he's saying like, oh, I woke up at 1:00, he's not really trying to insult me. We don't know you, and Karla doesn't know you to know what your true intentions are. And if I have to parallel it to Madison in a way of, you're keeping kind of your true feelings and your true thoughts to yourself.
Yeah.
How is Karla supposed to connect with you and actually address any of your concerns if you won't tell her? So
no, 100%. 100%. The only thing that I would say about the Madison and Juan parallel, I think Madison is being deceitful, of basically saying,
I will say she takes it to another level.
If she said, if we do this, I feel closer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Juan is like rejecting all the advances. He's not even trying.
Yeah.
Right? Even when it's almost like you giving me a key to your house, Blair, and I choose to use whatever key I want to get into your house. Right? Karla told him verbatim, like, this is what I need in a relationship. This is what I like. And he just like, wake up at 10:00 in the morning next time instead of 3. It's like he's choosing to like your point, run away from your feelings, while at the same time, as I do feel like he do not want to face his feelings, or like whatever feelings it is. I do feel like that's why I like to call it the Juan show. He like to play up his feelings as well. And I know a lot of people may not agree with it, and that's fine. But I do feel like him telling his story of what happened to him at 6 months, 6 years old, and 16, and things like that. Yes, it's your story. It's your story to tell. But I do feel like there was a little bit playing it up for the camera for me, right? Okay. And I'm willing to stand on that,
I hear you.
right? Since before we get to that, Dr. Pia brought up something about Karla, about and on her Instagram or something like that, of how she was a little too close with her male friends and things of that nature. And even though this is one of her gay friends or something like that, do you feel like that's still wrong of Karla?
I don't.
Me neither. I don't.
I don't. And more so, I would consider it a problem if it was a problem for Juan. And if it was a real issue, then I would expect Juan to bring it up to say that, you are my wife. I get that these are your friends and they're not really like sexually attracted to you, but it's just a little much for me how physical you guys are.
Yeah.
And I would respect it if that was Juan's take, but Dr. Pia, I see why she would bring it up, like as a point of basically like, Juan, is this something that might be a barrier or a hurdle? Like, this is something that I've seen, so I don't fault her for bringing it up, but I wouldn't have Karla change anything if it's not an issue with her husband.
And I think that's my point right there. I'm not so much on what Karla's doing, because Karla's going to do whatever she's allowed to do. You get what I'm saying? So if Juan have no problem with it, I'm not saying allowed in like the sense of like she's a prisoner, but to your point, Juan is over here like, man, he's cool and things like that. So by that alone, I feel like Dr. Peter felt like, I got to give y'all a game the way y'all touching each other doing something, because like it shouldn't be cool. But especially since go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we move on to the tantric yoga stuff, like I just wanted to say that even when Dr. Pia asked him, how was it visiting her family? Did you enjoy getting to know her parents? And he spent half the conversation talking about the food.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, are you like trying to avoid connection in a way by being so busy, by not focusing on the real relationships that you're going to have to build and grow here? It's just very odd to me. I don't get it.
He's odd, right? He's odd. That's why I would gladly say like he comes off as a fraud to me. He comes off as a phony, as someone who is, and this is when I say phony, as someone who's presenting themselves as, I'm in the process, but yet you're not doing anything in the process.
When it comes to making your marriage a success.
Not even close, right? So going back to her gay friend, I think there was an understanding, because I don't know if Karla would do that if she was in a loving marriage. And that's where I'm like, is there an agreement between these two that like, hey, we just gonna ride this out until the end, and then at the end of this we just go our separate ways, or like whatever? Because there's no way Karla's not feeling the platonicness of this relationship. Like it's a very platonic relationship. One thing that I wonder if y'all noticed at the after party, they had David, Madison, and Juan there, right? These are the three musketeers. From what throughout the episodes and the after party, they always hanging out, right? So it's like, I wonder, does she like just feel the platonicness of it? And even when it comes down to his business and things of that nature, Karla get to see kind of the behind the scenes of what he does, and she don't even know what he does. She's like, I see him tapping on the laptop, but at the end of the day, it just comes off as if like they're roommates. And it even came off in their session, right? When it came off to where the lady came in there in her lingerie, Karla was fully dressed. Juan had no shirt on. And Juan is over there, he's getting tickled with the rose and things of that nature. But then when this is the part that made me upset. Juan get to feel the actual real experience of whatever the lady was doing, whatever Karla was doing, because Karla was taking it seriously, right? But then when it's Karla's time, when it's Karla's turn, hey, Karla, I'm sorry, it's not the Karla show. It's the Juan show. And guess what? It's time for the audience laugh. Now I'm going to take the rose and do your nose, right? I'm going to do it and tickle your armpit. And now guess what? I'm laughing. I'm making all these goofy noise. And it just it was off-putting to watch. For one, it was cringy to watch. But it was off-putting because it's like, it's never Karla's turn, right? Like
you're never trying to meet her needs. And I guess that's the frustrating part, is that Karla has been so specific about what her needs are.
Yeah.
And he is totally like walking around, jumping over, not even trying to get close to what her needs are. And like you said, during this moment in the tantric part, of course, the lady coming in, that was a shock. You know, coming into her lingerie, that was a shock. The fact that the lady participated in the tantric yoga was a shock. Can you use your voice, please?
Too much participation for me. Okay.
There was too much participation from that lady. But I will say that, Juan, yes, when it was your turn to give Karla an experience of what she has been wanting and waiting for in this relationship, you choose to make it comedy time.
Goofy, yeah.
Yeah. Like so Juan is actively ignoring Karla's wants and needs, and it can't be ignored. It can't be ignored.
And I will say, even though I was one of the ones saying that Karla may be a gold digger, she's all these things, she had a storage unit, I don't think all those flaws of Karla that I may have said in the beginning are not reasons why her feelings or her wants should be neglected in a marriage, right? They picked her to be on this show on Married at First Sight. They picked me to be on Married at First Sight, meaning that I gave up my optics, I gave up my choice, meaning that I must be committed to this person, right?
Yeah.
No matter who they are, how they come, how they look. And it comes off, Juan is very selfish and self-centered. And I think we learned that during After Party episodes ago. And it's very off-putting. And I can see how some people may say, oh, just because two people are very good looking, because Juan is good looking and Karla is good looking, that they should be doing something. Even the experts is like nothing. I don't think it's as I don't think it's as easy as Juan is turned off by Karla's immaturity. No, because we have seen in that scene Juan's immaturity. So it's like, I don't think it's something as simple as he don't take Karla seriously because her life is not together. That's why Juan is not really fully into the process. No, it's something with Juan that's odd.
Yeah.
You know? Now, I have something interesting to pivot the question, because Juan and Karla as a couple is not interesting.
Okay.
I want to present I want to approach the jury on it if I could, and I just want to ask this question: Does Karla know about Madison and David?
I think that she has a feeling, but I don't think she knows for sure. I think that when they're around each other as a group, I mean, goodness, if Alan can see how much Madison lights up around David, other people can see it as well. So I think that when Karla's around, she peeps. And especially when it was David, Madison, and Karla, there, and Madison and David went to go look for. Hold on. I'm not going too far.
You're going too far.
I'm just saying that Karla is watching and paying attention and is picking up the clues.
You're going too far.
Okay.
Right. like I have the scene.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead. Take me. Walk with.
For one, I'll walk with you. Your job as the jury is just to go like.
All right.
Right. May I present my case to the jury, Your
Please
Honor,
do.
Right. I want to read the scene verbatim, because I did not think that Karla knew until I went back and watched the scene and actually took down word for word what happened. So for one, they at this sound bath is what it's called.
Yep.
Right. They at the sound bath. And, of course, brings up what's going on in her marriage, right? And she's bringing up, he's at homecoming and I don't feel like a wife and he ain't acting like a husband. And during that time, everyone's surprised. Even Camilla's like, what? And during her trials and things that she's going through, there is a seriousness that all the ladies have when it came to whatever she was going through, right? A seriousness. Nobody laughed. There was kind of doing this unbelief chuckle, this is crazy, right? But then Michelle tells her story, and this is what Michelle says. Michelle tells the girls that she received a text from David, and the text says, "You are so damn fine. I can't wait to eat you." And the two people who had an immediate reaction was Karla and Madison. Karla and Madison both started laughing, giggling. Right? Madison is cheesing, and then Madison begins to laugh. At this moment, Camille is she's like, what's going on, right? Karla said, was he talking to his T-bone that he's cooking? Michelle tells everyone that David said that was for his cousin. Madison begins to laugh harder, and she's smiling more, Your Honor, right? Michelle then said, but the night that he sent the message, he was with you two. And she points at Karla and Madison. She points to Karla and Madison. Now Madison's not laughing anymore. Now all of a sudden the laugh just went like this. That fast, right? Karla is looking at Madison with the suspicious look. Madison begins to explain what happens. Madison says, so it was Alan and I. And then while she was talking, Karla cuts off Madison and said, well, this is what happened, right? And then she stops talking. So that was suspicious to me. I'm going to say it again because it happened just like this. When Michelle said that he was with you two, Madison begins to explain, well, it was Alan and I. Then Karla cuts off Madison with, well, he, and then she stops talking in the middle of her sentence. She never completes the sentence. What's the point of cutting me off if you're not going to complete a sentence, right? Madison then jumps back and say, well, David and Karla showed up, and we, talk about her and Alan, effing dipped. I thought that was suspicious too, because I'm like, why are you cussing there? Like, just say we left, right? She said, David and Karla showed up, and we effing dipped, talk about her and Alan. Michelle is asking Madison, well, what was he doing that night? Was he on his phone a lot? Karla answers and said, no. I think he was helping you look for your phone, looking at Madison. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, I'm asking Madison the question, and Karla's answering the question. It's like, it's so much like volleying going on, right? Madison said, well, when my phone was stolen, that's when Karla takes a sip of her drink while Madison's saying that, staring at Madison. Karla said, well, but I barely saw him, but, okay. Michelle then says, I need advice on what the next step should be. Madison says, I feel like there's clearly more to it, so maybe coming from more of a softer side to make him feel like you're not going to be lashing out and mad and screaming and making him feel like a piece of ish. Karla then says, the truth always come out. She said it just like that. Now, my question to you, Blair, is when we was talking about MM's trials and stuff going on in her marriage, it wasn't nothing funny about it. Mm-hmm. We both going through like hard times, right? And then when we get to Michelle's point or her story, now all of a sudden it's showtime at the Apollo. Everybody's laughing. And then I'm talking about a guy that's potentially cheating on me. Talk about Michelle, right? Madison's response is, well, maybe if you show him your softer side and not make him feel like a piece of ish, then it's like there's something suspicious to it. And then Karla's saying the truth always come out. What is your thoughts on that argument, Your Honor, on does Karla know or do Karla suspect something?
Karla has intuition about it, but I don't think she knows exactly.
I think she's seen something.
Okay.
I think she's seen something. I think, to your point, if Alan can see how they hug, and if David Madison and Juan always hang out, and sometimes Karla is there, I think she knows something. And if she knows something, do I put the responsibility on Karla to say something? Because I don't think I do, but I find it very suspicious of how they was completing each other's sentences, even though they both wasn't saying anything. Mm-hmm. And that scene kind of made me go, Karla might know about Madison and David, if it is Madison and David. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I really don't have more thoughts about that because I'm not putting too much weight on Karla in this situation.
Really?
I'm really not. No. Whether she knows something or not, if we use your example of Denise, that's not Karla's marriage.
It's not.
It's not Karla's marriage. So could she tell Michelle some of her theories? She could, but she doesn't know anything for a fact. So I would say if you don't know, then don't say anything. So. Yeah.
I do agree with that as well. But I think something did happen that night if it comes out that it was them two. And we will see. I think that's the most interesting part of Karla's story now. It's no longer Karla and Juan in my eyes no more. I'm looking at how Karla and Madison interact from this point on to the end of the show.
Okay.
That's how I'm looking at it. Anything else?
That's all I got.
Make sure y'all subscribe, like, share, comment. Let us know what y'all thought about this episode and what y'all thought about my theory that Karla was there. Maybe she's seen something, and I mean seen something more than what Alan sees in the sense of how they hug. Maybe she sees something because I find it very interesting that during MM's story it wasn't it wasn't funny, but I
think what was funny about it is the actual text because it was so off the wall. I think that
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was a crazy thing to say. So I don't think that Karla is making light of Michelle's situation by laughing. I think Madison might have multiple reasons for laughing. Yeah. But if we're focusing on Karla, I think it was a crazy text, Yeah,
it is a crazy text. But I don't like how y'all was cutting each other off and completing each other's sentences though. Okay. As if like y'all are like collaborating this story.
Yeah, I didn't take it like that.
But no, I saw it and that's exactly how it went. Okay. It went. Madison was talking. Karla cut her off to start talking, and then Madison had to jump back in. I'm like, hold on. Karla, no one's not even talking to you. Why are you jumping in to kind of make it seem like you are collaborating with the story? So that's why I'm like...
Well, the way that I interpreted what I saw from Karla jumping is because Madison tried to make it seem like, me and Alan really weren't even there for long.
That was before. That was after. I'm talking before, before we even got to the whole we effing dip part of Madison. Madison didn't even get 3 words out before Karla cut her off. And then Karla got 2 words out and then didn't say nothing. Okay. I'm like, Okay, so who's talking here now? Because y'all cutting each other off.
Yeah.
It's like y'all rushing to get a story out.
Gotcha.
So that's why I'm like, does Karla know? Or is Karla an innocent bystander? Let us know in the comments what y'all think. Mm-hmm. And rewatch the scene. Mm-hmm. We watched the scene. I just watched it this morning. We watched the scene. Okay? Subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above.
Bye.